de Rosny is an early systems thinker, and de Rosny wanted to characterize an existing economy and the problems with it. And the main problem he identified was there was no context. This economy was running as a sort of machine sitting on top of stocks and flows of resources and energy. It only touched it where it had to. But what I mean by that is that it wasn't factored in. There was no costing of the resource in a true sense. There was no costing of the waste in a true sense. It was artificially priced. Everything had price, but they didn't really understand the value, is what he was saying. So you needed to contextualize the economy and look at resources and material flows.
Let's pause for a moment and think.
Joel de Rosny came up with the macroscope, which is the idea of dropping detail. We have a microscope to look at the detail, we have a telescope to look at distance. His idea was if we took a macroscope, if we took a big picture view, we could get a sense of the patterns in the economy without worrying about the detail. That's really very, very helpful, because if the problem with the economy was that it hasn't got a context, a macroscope allows you to say, where does an economy sit? Oh, it sits within society, obviously, it sits within environment, and all of these things are intimately interconnected because they're part of a system which isn't mechanical. It's actually dynamic, interdependent. It reflects what we now understand about how the real world works. And the real world works through the notion of complex adaptive systems, which just means a very dynamic system where you can't predict the outcome, but you have lots of patterns that show up. And you can use the patterns to tell you what you might like to do. But it doesn't offer you an answer in the way having an economy as a machine with levers would give you an answer. There's no long-run equilibrium in a complex adaptive economy. It might be here, it might be there, it might be doing very well, it might be poor, but there's no assumption that it's going to all work out. If only you're efficient. That to de Rosny would be an incredibly naive view. And that's been the really big challenge for a lot of people. Economics, for some it's been a journey from the mechanistic view to a more enlightened complexity economics view. But the general view of the economy is still of a machine that processes resources, creates economic growth, and it's a shame we've got these problems at the other end. And it's a shame that we might be running into resource scarcity. Whereas if you see it as one complex adaptive system, you can then work within these patterns, these flows.